Thank you, everyone, for coming. And just to speak more to my name, Nasibondi, growing up, I really hated that name. But right now, I really love it. I was named after my paternal grandmother, and actually it means sweet potatoes. Yes. So as you can see, I'm sweet. Sweet potatoes. So to our distinguished guests, fellow authors, family, friends, and people who have come to support us this afternoon, good afternoon. Today is deeply personal to me. I've been looking and praying for this day, and here we are. And as Mr. Dozo said, this is the day the Lord has made. We are going to rejoice and be glad in it. And indeed, we are rejoicing. And as we launch the bold moves, maybe just to go back, I never knew I could be an author. Over the years, I used to accumulate my books. When I travel, I buy books, and they could just be there in the shelf, not reading. But about 4 years ago, I decided just to make the deliberate move to start reading. And it was so good. And 2 years ago, I joined a book club. And I'm glad one of the book club members is here today to support me. Her name is Sharon. Thank you so much, Sharon, for coming. And we meet every Saturday morning from 7:15 to 8:15 just to discuss books. And it's so nice. It has been enriching. And now to move from reading a book to now being an author has just been challenging. Not even challenging in a positive way, as in making that bold step that you can do something that you've never done. And sharing this book and my story, where redirections become destiny, I become vulnerable and share what I've gone through. It is not easy. And making that bold move does not necessarily mean that will turn out successful. You can make that bold move and fail. But the beauty about life is even if you fail, you pick up yourself and you move forward. And when I began writing my chapter, I did not just want to simply tell a success story, as I've said. I wanted to tell the truth, the real story of what I've gone through. Being someone who grew up in the village, I grew up in a large family. I have 7 siblings, 1 mother, 1 father, and 2 of them are here with us today. And I'm glad my sisters are there. And even one of the sisters I actually get to talk about her in the book. My follower, Edith, is here with us. And growing up in that large family, and during our tenure, people who grew up in the 80s, 90s, late 70s, our homes were full. We were not just the nuclear family. We had relatives. There's always a relative that you're staying with, a cousin, an auntie, an uncle. It was all about family. And our parents were very lucky. My parents were teachers, graduates from Makerere University. My dad was a principal for a very long time, and he taught English. My mom was a mathematics and chemistry teachers, and most of these distinguished leaders we have in our country passed through their hands. And we were blessed to have them as parents. And growing up, that meant education was taken seriously. And I remember even during our school holidays, our parents will bring us the exam papers, especially when we went to high school. They brought us question papers that the school sat during the term, and they expected us to do those exams without fail. As I've told you, my mother was a mathematics and chemistry teacher. So for those of you, all of us who have done the 844 system, you know what that meant, especially in high school. We're now in chemistry, you are doing the mole concept. Luckily, we got that extra tuition and coaching from home, and we excelled in that. And back at home, we were treated, our parents brought us up working, and we will share in the household chores, be it cleaning, be it washing, be it tendering to the farm, and even looking after the cattle. We did all that. And coming to our home, you couldn't tell who was the child of that home and who was the worker and who were relatives. We were all treated the same. But now looking back, I'm actually really thankful for that upbringing, because it instilled within us hard work, even our shared values, and even just knowing how to relate with others. And perhaps one of the lessons, the first lessons I want to leave with us this afternoon, that to all of us, is that sometimes the seasons that we feel ordinary are actually preparing us for the extraordinary assignment. So that upbringing that we got really prepared us for who we became and what we got to do later on the university, in life. And after transitioning from primary, going to high school, I remember very well, with my sister, we started school at the same time, actually people up to now usually think we are twins, but we are not. There's a year gap between me and my sister, but we started school at the same time. So, and from nursery school all through to class 8, and when we got to class 8, believe you me, we got similar marks, same points, same marks, and we were called to the same school, high school. And at that stage, I thought I wanted the independence. So I humbly asked my dad to get for me placement in another school which I thought was cooler than what I had been called. Luckily, my dad, our parents really support us, and he got me the admission, and I went to this school. But later on, realized that my grades were failing, and my parents had to make the decision after 3 years to take me back to the school that I was originally chosen. And I actually performed well, and I got a B+, and I was the 4th student that year. And maybe just to go back, I was always fascinated with numbers, and I knew finance was my field. But now when it came to being called to go to the university, I was called to go and do nursing at Moi University. And I remember my father telling me, my daughter, go, you don't have to be a nurse. Once you've finished, I'll take you for masters and you'll do public finance. And I thought, public health, sorry. And I thought that was better, and I went. But I could not resonate with it. And let me tell you, doing something that doesn't align with you really drains you. You don't have the energy. And I remember I did for 3 years. And that is when I said, no, I'm lying to myself. I need to go back where my heart is. And that is how I found myself in finance. And that shifted. And that is why I was talking about making bold decisions which now realign to your purpose in life. It wasn't easy, but I did it. And throughout I scaled, and I didn't stop at the degree, went and did master's, and I was in the private sector, rose to head of finance, but I still thought, even with my career, looking at the bottom lines and the top lines and improving the company's performance, I really wanted something that was impactful, something that can change life. And that's how I shifted to public sector. And I went to the county government. I applied for the job. It was not easy. And let me tell you, especially for women who now look for these positions, political positions, you are questioned where you're married. You are questioned, if you're not married, why are you not married? And they will really want to bring you down. And that's how you have to be bold, knowing that this is what you need to do, and you give it your all. I took that bold step of applying for the position, went for vetting, and got the position. And getting the position is one thing, and performing is another. Ladies, they normally, your lens, you're judged as a lady. And remember very well, even on the boards that I've sat, with ladies, you will even be judged more. And you have even to do extra. But this is just an encouragement even to the young ladies who are here, who are still scaling their profession, is that you have to be bold. You have to tell yourself you are there in your right as a person, and you've qualified, and you have to put in what needs to be put in for you to excel in your work. And I did and excelled. And when time came, when the tenure ended, I had to make another bold decision, now transitioning to consultancy, because I didn't want to be confined to where I was. I had already done the private sector, I had already done the public sector, so combining that, and I knew consultancy will give me the freedom to now even be able to share what I have learned through the years. It has been great, not easy, because now with consultancy, you move away from the comfort of a monthly income, knowing that you have a monthly pay slip. But now here you have to put in the work. But the beauty about it is that you get to interact with various people, with various organizations. So, and that is the journey that I've shared in my chapter. And because sometimes bold moves are not loud, and at times bold moves are painful because you're moving from your comfort. Sometimes bold moves requires walking away, the way I walked away from my first high school, the way I walked away from my first university. Sometimes bold moves requires you to start all over again. But the beauty about it is that the bold move really trigger you to even move and scale higher. So do not despise the redirection. That could be your destiny, because the detour is preparing you for your destiny. Above all, in this life, don't settle for status quo, and don't settle for what is comfortable. And to me, I've done all this being anchored in Philippians 4:13, which says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. May we all continue making bold moves, anchored in faith, and challenging ourselves to be better than we were yesterday. Thank you so much.